cookout today. We got some broccoli going. Woo! Then fogged up my camera lens. Got some allspices. This right here is banging. And got salt, pepper, and garlic and onion mixed already. So we got salt and pepper. We got some beef stroganoff. Got us some tomato sauce. We got real low carbs, shrimp, yum sauce, teriyaki. These are all carbs smart. Sugar-free steak sauce. I don't know what the JFG stands for, but it's mayonnaise and it's separate. I have to mix it up. Sour cream. Got two things of ground beef. We got some salmon, some rice cauliflower, we got fried rice, two different kinds of cheese mix. We got some New York strip steak, West Virginia steak. That's the ground. So we're gonna have a cookie. My hat now, and we're going to do some repairs, hopefully without. So you can see where I've got power steering fluid leaking. That's deduced by seeing that there's the power steering pump. Right there is that 45-degree fitting that I showed you on that previous video, and this is the hose that I thought was leaking originally. And what's going on is there's a rubber O-ring under that nut right there where you see the leaking. Either that thing is worn out or cracked, or it's just loose, but I can't tell. And you can't really fit a wrench in here good. So what's going to have to happen is there's two bolts right there that I'm going to have to take off and pull the entire power steering pump off, and then lay it on the rail here. And I'm going to take that fitting and hose off. The first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to disconnect all these power steering lines. This one I don't have. It works while it's sitting still once it cools off. So there's two bolts. Got some glare here. I'm trying to block it out so you can see. See, there's a bolt right here, a bolt right here. Those will have to come off. On further inspection, I think I'm gonna leave them hoses on the top side unhooked. Probably a poor decision. And when I say poor, I mean P-O-U-R, no pun intended. You know what? I'm gonna go up top and investigate taking those apart before I take this pump off. But it looks like it's gonna be an equal headache, so we're gonna find out. Okay, so what I've decided to do is I took the whole reservoir off and drained it into the pan below, but I had it sitting up here. 9/16, 3 of them with block washers. Washers on this side, or not washers, the nylon bolts inside where they grab once you start torquing them. Bolt head on the back side. This right here acts as a washer on this one. So you only have 2 washers on the back side and then 3 washers over here. Alright, so you can see there's evidence all under here where road grime is mixed with what I've been leaking. And then of course when you park, it slowly runs off, and it doesn't take much for an oil type based hydraulic looking fluid. See, it's all over these lines. I'm gonna spray some brake cleaner under here to generally try to kind of clean up. When you crack that pump loose from the air compressor bottom here, you'll see some oil come out. That oil is not fluid for the power steering. It's the oil that comes from the compressor there. And it runs in the cycle, so you don't have to worry about that. But what I've got to do now is pull that pump. It shouldn't take much. Alright, so we got the power steering pump out, the compressor. Splines look good. Of course, I'm gonna clean this guy up with some brake clean around these edges here. I'm gonna be real careful about not making sure there's nothing got in to the gear and all that down in there. We don't need any of that trouble. I'm gonna clean all this up. I'm gonna take all the hoses off and really clean them up, make sure there's no crack in the fraying or anything. This had to come off, which is bolted on right here under all your fuel pump madness. It goes through the same hole. One single bolt right here. I got it in my don't lose stuff drag box, because I lose something every time I work on it. Ask my wife. Anyway, I did cap this off. A gentleman at TA who gave me his opinion for no charge found a couple of them little, I don't know what you call it, a nutter, a boob, whatever. But anyway, you put that on there, keep extra power steering fluid from coming out. I'm going to investigate this high pressure hose here and make sure it's not cracked up, but I already have an extra one, and then I'm going to let me turn it anyway, so I might use it. You need a 1/4 inch to hold this elbow steel, and a 7/8 to crack this, so I'll get back with you after I do that. Alright, so I got all the hoses taken off. this is where that fitting was. If you could see. Alright, this is the new one. Just took the thread protector off. I'm going to clean it up before I put it on there. See how that gasket is pretty good shape. It's rolled out. It'll make a seal once it gets tightened down. This one, I don't know if it's a design change or if it actually wore that way, but you can see that it has become conical shaped towards the pump, and I think it's just not making a good seal anymore. This might still be good, I don't know, but looking at that part versus this one and the actual price, I think it's worth it to just go ahead and change it. You can see the wear on it. It's not awful, but that gasket right there, I believe, is the culprit of why it was leaking. I think I'm gonna go ahead and change the hose too, but there's one of your two hoses. I had them all drained out completely, and then the other one sitting on top of the fuel filter there. So we're gonna put the new one in, crank it down, put the new gasket right there is the new one. No, excuse me, the new one's there. Watch me put the old one back on there. It's stupid. I'll get back with you after that. Lord have mercy. That was a pain getting that back in there and getting them bolts started. But that's the process we're in now. I'm gonna finish tightening them guys down. Them two. Brake clean under here. See what I can see. Get all the hoses reattached up top. Then we'll bleed it and see what we're gonna do here. See if we're leaking anything. Alright, so with a little bit of help from one of these neighbor drivers, we finally get the hose in the right orientation. We're going to crank the high pressure hose up. I went ahead and replaced it since I had that extra I can't return. I'll save the old one because I don't think there's anything wrong with it, just in case. So now we just got to hook up this bottom return hose. Fill it back up, test it out. Alright, so thanks to a neighbor helping me get the hose indexed. We got that tightened up. I cleaned up the blue hose, the filter hose. I didn't change the filter. I'll probably get a filter whenever I get near a Freightliner or a TA or something. Anyway, this guy's about had it. So it's fine for a little bit longer, but once it gets up to the black, I'm gonna call it quits. But anyway, you got all the hose, so you got that thing tightened up under there. We filled up the system. I cranked the wheel back and forth, walked it out with this off so it would suck down. It sucked it down. I filled it up to the midline. It sucked it down to just below the letters here. Put the rest of that cord in. It brought it up just above the minimum cold line. I'm going to go get another one to carry just in case. But that is water right there. That's not for me. That's water come off from right there. So I believe we got this repair done, fellas. Nothing's leaking. All that's old news. I'm gonna spray some more brake clean, get it all cleaned up, button up this, put the side fairings back on, clean up the tools. Then we're gonna get a shower. Sure is nice to get a shower. I still got some stuff that won't come off. I'm gonna find me a mom and pop place to eat, and tomorrow they're gonna change the passenger side of my windshield. It's got a crack in it, so safe light should be here between 8 in the morning and noon. So it's gonna hold me up because my availability is showing as 5 a.m. right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and push it back again until noon. You know what, I'll call 11 o'clock just in case they show up earlier. So we got that done. Now it's time to get our fat boil on, and hope that helps anybody. If it don't, I wasn't trying to show off my mechanical non-ability. I just wanted to show you that I probably saved myself, $250 to $400 in labor today, maybe even more, depends on how much you want to push it. And all I had was money and parts.